It is Monday, December 2nd. Monday Night Raw is now wrapping up. And what a 2 hour episode of Monday Night Raw. Excitement from start to finish. And we are going to highlight on this episode of Off the Dome just 4 things that popped out from me for this whole episode. And it's Punk and where he's going. It's Seth and his new road that he's walking. It's the New Day 10th anniversary and what we got out of that. And it's also looking at when you listen to Finn, you win. And what's come out of that whole catchphrase and Finn's new quote unquote takeover of the Judgment Day. And so before we get to that, I'm going to need you to hit like. I'm going to need you to hit subscribe. I have a subscriber goal of 30 I'm trying to reach, so help me get there. I'm trying to build a new channel, so hit that button, hit the bell notification so you know every time I drop an Off the Dome or any other video, you'll be notified when it hits your channel. It hits your YouTube, so please hit that. And with that note, without further ado, Punk comes out. He talks about revisiting the conversation that he tried to before in the past, but he had to get rid of Drew. He had to support a friend and go fulfill a promise to a friend that he made. So he did that with helping Paul Heyman and the Bloodline with them being successful at War Games this past Saturday in Vancouver. And so we get done with War Games. We get done with Hell in a Cell and Drew McIntyre. And he talks about this promise, the promise that came out the conversation with Roman and Paul on Friday. This promise is going to be for a world title shot down the line. Now, will he actually get that world title shot and have a fair shot at it? Who knows? Will Seth get involved because he feels this mission to stop CM Punk and to bring an end to him because that's what he should have did in the first place, like he said in the promo tonight. Well, I'm rushing ahead. Seth comes out, interrupts Punk, states, "Hey, I should have dropped you when you got here. You are a cancer, and I need to stop you. And I was busting my butt to not only defend my title, but also stop the Bloodline. And now you're over here tagging with the Bloodline, and now I know I have to stop you." And so, but Punk has no interest. Punk is like, "Yo, I just said I took care of all my personal stuff. I'm focusing on the world title. And when we first did this song and dance earlier this year, you had something I wanted. You had the World Heavyweight Championship. And so you no longer have that, Seth. And so you no longer are of interest to me. Like, why are you here? Unless you have some gold around your waist or a shot or something, you need to move." And so Punk has no interest, but Seth, almost being this desperate character, this desperate man, needing to have Punk's attention, starts to antagonize Punk more and more. And what we watch from Punk out of this is Punk basically being carried off. A brawl breaks out between Punk and Seth by the end of it, with then Jay and Sammy coming to break it up, which was so unique because it was the friends coming to stop it. And then by the time the friends had already broken up, gotten them out the ring and everything, here comes security and Adam Pearce like, oh, break it up. Like, chill out. Y'all ain't do nothing. Y'all need to get on, leave, bounce. Y'all are not doing a single thing to help right now. But you look at Punk being carried off by Jay, and then Seth trying to use that later on, like, oh, maybe Punk attacked Jay. Punk ain't attacked Jay. Punk was barely trying to attack you until you really antagonized him. So when we really think about who probably attacked Jay, it was probably Drew McIntyre. But the tease of it being Seth and that lingering feeling of that being Seth, I think that's to lay for a true heel turn down the line with Seth. And I think Seth is following the same path as Drew McIntyre. I think he is so obsessed with proving that CM Punk is the villain that it's going to then make him look like the villain and come off more the villain. And so I'm I believe we're going towards that direction for Mania. But until we get there, I think Punk will eventually get his title shot. And I think it'll be Gunther at the Royal Rumble. I think that's where we'll be looking for that. And I think something that was said tonight, Braun said, hey, Ludwig, you need to get off the Gunther train because he is not the same. And we'll talk about why part of that conversation might be happening later on with stuff to happen later. But between the Damian Priest build-up and Gunther not being the same, between Gunther losing to Cody, I think this is all building up to Gunther being shaken and being broken and then losing the world title, having to rebuild himself, and somebody who was very dominant, somebody who was had a very long streak as well, will be that person to push him and give him a moment at WrestleMania, and that will be his redemptive moment in retiring Goldberg at WrestleMania. I've been saying it since Bad Blood, and I'm going to keep saying it to the high heavens. Gunther's going to retire Goldberg at WrestleMania. Does it completely excite me? Is it the most excitable match for Gunther at WrestleMania? No, it's not. But it's a primetime big match that when all the eyes are on WrestleMania, when you have all these people who don't watch year to year from episode to episode, and sometimes they just come for WrestleMania and WrestleMania only, just like those Super Bowl viewers who only come to watch the Super Bowl and the Super Bowl only. We might get lucky enough that from Gunther retiring Goldberg, maybe it might then make some new fans for Gunther and then help just push him to be a bigger star in this company. And isn't that kind of crazy to think that Walter at this point might be the person to retire Goldberg? Isn't it kind of crazy to think that Walter, the person that people didn't think would ever make it to WWE or come to WWE because of his own concerns? Well, look at him now, and look where he is, and look where he could be. The company's given him a lot, and it seems like they'll continue to give him a lot. Maybe this story evolves from him having to step away from titles, and now he's going to start conquering and challenging other things, because the man has had a lot of title reigns, and it might get old eventually for Gunther, so we need to move him away from that. But in moving him away from that, I don't think the person to beat him or win that title off of him is Finn Balor. But Finn is going to be the most hard-pressed man to try. Whether it was Money in the Bank 2023 with Seth, whether it was SummerSlam 2023 with Seth again, I was there live for that match, and that match over-delivered as a live viewer. And he's failed both times. Damian getting involved with both of those title matches. Well, Finn has gotten involved with both of Damian's world title matches, and so though Damian's out selling that arm injury that he got attacked for after Survivor Series, I think Damian's on the hunt to get some revenge on Finn. And so at Saturday night's main event, I can easily see we got Finn and we have Gunther. Gunther is going to, for the world title, Gunther is going to end up beating Finn for that. Finn jumped him tonight after Gunther's match with Dom, and the whole point of that was so he could get Gunther's attention and get a world title out of that, because he's claimed that, hey, both times you beat Damian, I helped you, and so you owe me. And so I see the route that they're trying to go with the story. I like it, but I think Damian does get involved. And I think Damian gets involved, then causing us to go to the Royal Rumble. Maybe on the first episode of Raw, we get a triple threat between Damian, Finn, and Gunther for the World Heavyweight title. But I think this takes us to the Royal Rumble, where Finn is going to eliminate Damian in the Royal Rumble, and then that's going to lead to them having their final match on Raw or at Elimination Chamber, just leading up to WrestleMania, to highlight Damian and give him that big push towards his WrestleMania program, whatever that may be. But speaking of big builds, let's talk about the New Day and this 10th anniversary, because wow, I was blown away by the segment last week with Kofi and Woods arguing back and forth, and I called it a conversation of hard truths that two brothers had to have with each other. Hey, you lost to Brock and then you didn't do shit about it. Damn, you know what? That pissed me off, but you're right. Yo, you fumbled the crown and you fumbled that title shot I gave you. The title shot I gave you, that then I just let it slip that it was actually for me, but I gave it to you so you could be happier. Because I'm looking out for you. And Xavier probably went home and said, you know, right? He's right too. I messed up as well. And you're looking at that. The big factor was, what was Big E going to do and what was Big E going to say when he came out tonight? It was inevitable that Big E was going to appear. So what was he going to do and what effect was he going to have on the group? Would Woods attack him? Because we've seen the teasers and the clues of the Dragon Ball Z gear, and Woods is in Goku Black gear, and that's the evil person's gear, and Kofi's in Goku's gear. But also, if you're a real Dragon Ball Z fan and you pay attention to detail, especially if you're a Vegeta fan like me, you saw Majin Vegeta in that necklace around Kofi's neck. And so what were we getting? Were we just getting the tease of both of them going heel? And I think that's what we got. The symbols of that going throughout the weeks. Is it going to be Kofi? Is it going to be Woods? It's actually going to be both. Because those hard truths, though they had those hard truths, the one truth they also came to was we had each other throughout all that. Who didn't we have throughout all that? Big E. And then they started to then list. I'm sorry, I'm jumping ahead again. Let's break it back down. The boys come out, they're about to basically say, hey, we're going to have to take a new step, and this is not your fault. This is something else. And Big E comes out, I'll be your manager. I'm gonna be here every week. I'm going to be here to support y'all. I'm going to get y'all back on y'all feet because that's all we've had. We've had each other in this group. And then Xavier is like, oh, you want to come out now and be helpful? You want to come out now and be supportive after you've been gone? And you think that, like, it's just Xavier being wild and talking off his, like, just going off the tongue, and everybody's like, oh, no, Xavier, stop. But then Kofi jumps in and is like, you've been gone, E. You left us. And it's the way that Kofi and Woods proceed to go back and forth, explaining how Big E has let them down. And Big E, I had a broken neck. Come on, y'all. I had a broken neck. Like, I hurt myself. The energy during this conversation, I'm on the edge of my seat because I'm just like, I don't want the New Day to end. Big E throws out this tease about, once I get medically cleared, but until then, I'll be here to be your manager. And it's just, they play with your emotions up and down like a roller coaster throughout that whole segment. And it was such an enjoyable ride. Because I have loved and stuck to the New Day mission from the beginning of, hey, we don't want to break up because as some black brothers, we want to show a different message to others in America, to others around, that we don't have to stab each other in the back, that we can then separate, go our separate ways, and go after singles titles, have our own different victories, and still be friends. A draft won't break up our group and our friendship and our bond, no matter what. If Big E wins, guess what? We're coming over from SmackDown to celebrate with him because that's our dog. If there's moments where we have to drop down and shine lesser for our brother to shine more, we do that. And I love that that's the mission. And you even hear it throughout the promos, like Kofi saying, hey, I've dropped down and I was fanning your cape and touching your feet and all that when you won King in the Ring. I was treating you like royalty because you my brother. And in Woods, hey, I helped you get to the world title and gave you that extra push that you needed when you was over here contemplating retirement and whatnot. Both of them have talked about what they did for each other, And yeah, they were there for Biggie, and Biggie was there for them, but then they started to list, hey, yo, this wrestler, Edge, they name dropped Edge, and that was the craziest one for me. Kurt Angle, they name dropped different people who came back from neck injuries. Woods was talked about his injury that he came back from earlier this year, and the fact that, yo, I came back so we could hold the New Day ship down for you. We haven't evolved this whole song and dance. We've been doing the same song and dance, waiting for you to come back, Biggie, so that way it could be the same thing that you recognize and know. And with that being said, then they ended basically the new day that we know. And so probably the colorful New Day has now come to an end. Big E has been excommunicated from the New Day. And in their final scene, they said, hey, you and I, it's just you and I. That's all we got. And then they had the Arnold Schwarzenegger, Carl Weathers. Not Carl Weathers. No, Carl Weathers. Yeah, it's Carl Weathers from Predator. You know which one I'm talking about. The arm handshake that they say, yes, we got this. We about to do a mission. Well, they about to turn heel. It's about to get aggressive. To me, it's back to formula, if you will. If you go back to the original promo when Xavier first came out and said, hey, we gotta change. We gotta do something different. There was an aggressive, angry energy to it of, we are pissed off at the spot that we're in and we want more. And so you look at, we're going back to that. And then we never actually got into that, because then they came back and it was like the Preacher-esque promos, and it was such a weird and interesting vibe, especially as a black fan. Just such an interesting vibe, because that did not seem like what the message we were getting originally, with people coming out in suits, looking very serious, a very, I hate to say it, but Hurt Business energy to it. And then they came out dancing like preachers and whatnot. And they had the power of positivity. And I don't think power of positivity is holding it down. I don't think POP is holding it down anymore. And so with that said, they are going to evolve. I think we are going to get new looks, new energy. And I don't know if we get a tag title run out of these two yet. I want to actually sit and think about it some more and actually cook on it. But whether it's a tag title run or whether Kofi looks at Ian, it's just like, not Ian, looks at Xavier and is like, yo, it's time, man. We gonna get you that singles title. And we push him towards a singles title. I don't think it's Braun Breaker, but I could see them maybe going after a tag title run, defeating the War Raiders, and then down the line, maybe they push Xavier towards beating Sheamus, because Sheamus takes it off of Braun. I could see it down the line. So, what do y'all think? Can we get Xavier an IC title run out of this? Do you all think, or let me, before I even end the conversation, let me say this. Am I stunting his growth? Can he be a world champion? Can Xavier be a world champion? Comment below, let me know. What do you think is in the future for Seth? What do you think is going to be the final straw that pushes him over to turn heel? In my personal opinion, this is my little nugget at the end of the video for y'all. Punk winning the world title is going to be that nugget. I don't think he's actually going to stop Punk from winning the world title. I think their match at Mania does involve the world title. And if Punk is already trying to point at an invisible WrestleMania sign, homie, he wants that WrestleMania main event. And so that world title will be involved to give it some importance. So, because it's time that we stop treating the world heavyweight title like it's secondary. Because Big Gold is never secondary. Comment below. Like and subscribe. This is Off the Dome. I'll see y'all. Peace.